Hey everybody, welcome out to the Dice Tower. My name is Chris Yee, and today I'm taking a look at this small box little game here called Rosetta the Lost Language. This one intrigued me, as it is a cooperative game that is a fairly short, really small package, and it's about glyphs or hieroglyphics or making up a language to communicate a concept between people. And let me show you how it plays in a very unique way, then I'll give you my thoughts. This is an example set up for a game of Rosetta the Lost Language. This is a cooperative game. One player is going to be the author, who's going to come up with the meaning of a certain hieroglyph that will be randomly selected from here. And the meaning that I assign to that hieroglyph will be informed by this location card. And there's a whole mix of these location cards and a whole mix of these different hieroglyphs, and they can be oriented in different ways to make different meanings. So I'm going to look at this, and I'm going to be the author, the kind of the lead player here, and I'm going to write down something over here on this card that I think I want the teammates to be able to guess. But it can't be a direct object in this picture. Now, the rest of the team, they're gonna be having up to 10 chances to ask what the meaning of that, to guess what the meaning of this is. So they will write a word on this card, in this case, boat. If it is correct, then the team wins. If it's not correct, what I will do as the author is I will draw a hieroglyph that represents that word here. So in this case, I drew this hieroglyph, which looks like this part of the greater hieroglyph. That's boat. So they now know something. So on their next guess, they're going to write the word here, river. Now what I did as the author, when they guess that, I can cross this out and say, no, that's not even close to what I want them to try and get to here. So I just cross it out, and that's some negative information. They say, okay, river is not on the right track. So they'll guess the word house, and then in response, I drew this. I used these lines here to draw a house-looking thing. Now, when you start the fourth round, it says here, use an ability card. There's 2 ability cards out of multiple here, and they're double-sided, so you'll have different abilities each game. They can ask up to 3 yes or no questions, or they can ask me, the author, to make a simple gesture related to it. So they're going to choose this one. So I, as the author, maybe I'll do a gesture like this, right? Oh, okay, so they're onto something here. So they're going to guess the word trees, to which I'll respond by drawing these lines here, and then the next word is going to be wood, and so I'll draw just this simple line here. You see there's a lot of lines in this glyph here, and so on their 6th guess, they say, hey, how about the word carpentry? And I say, that is correct. The word I was going for with this meaning here was carpentry. Now, if it takes you 7 rounds, you can also learn the meaning. There's a little fragment over here of the greater thing, so I would have said like instrument or paddle or something like that. And you have 9 cards. You have 10 guesses total to try and get the meaning here. And like I said, you can't use something that's directly in the picture, but carpentry seemed like a relevant card. And like I said, there are plenty of these, and they can be oriented in different directions. Every card has a little bit of the glyph here that you can use as a little piece of information later. And then there are multiple location cards, all very beautifully illustrated, from which you can pull some information. And that's how you play Rosetta the Lost Language. This is a really interesting game. It's unique in its concept. There are other games that kind of feel like they have a similar idea, but this one delivers in such a strange way. It is almost like a party game. There's plenty of party games where you get to draw, to communicate, kind of, different ideas. This one asks you to do it in a very involved way. And I like it for that, but it's also kind of exhausting, where the team guesses something and I have to make up a whole hieroglyph just to kind of express that idea if I think it's relevant towards getting them to guess my word. And so it's tough. It really is tough, because if the first guesses are really far off of what you're going, but not so far off that you just want to cross it out, then it's going to take a lot out of you as the expert, it's called, the person who assigned the meaning of the word. Then there's other times where you might assign a meaning to the word, or to the glyph, I should say, that's really apparent or obvious, and so the rounds feel very easy. So this game not only asks a lot of you as a player, but it also asks a lot of you to assign a meaning that is guessable, but not too obvious so that the game isn't fun, but also not so abstract and weird, right? Like you could come up with anything. It could be pride or a carpenter or woodworking, but you could go all sorts of directions with it and kind of make it more challenging for the team if you wanted. Ultimately, I think this is a super clever game. I like that it comes in a small form factor and it makes sense. I don't know if I love the total delivery method, though. Having that drawing on the side randomly paired with a glyph, and you have to make a meaning. It takes a lot. If one comes to you easily, then that's not bad. But if you really have to work at it, then people are just going to kind of stare at you for a few minutes as you're sitting there like, I'm trying to think of a meaning, everyone. So it doesn't sing as a party game per se, but it is a really interesting exercise, I think, especially for two people, to just kind of sit there and go back and forth and try and get each other's mind. At the end of the day, I'm giving this game a 6. It is fun. I would play it again, but it's not something that I think, whoa, this really kicks the doors open. It's not something that say, hey, come over for a party. Let me show you Rosetta the Lost Language. It's more cerebral than that, and that's not bad, but it's just not exactly what I'm looking for in a type of game like this. And like I said, the fact that it requires so much of the players is gonna make me hesitate to play it again, because I'm gonna have to sit there and get into a very particular mindset to make this game enjoyable for the other people at the table. Unique, I really applaud them for trying something so different. And so if you see this around somewhere, if you think it calls to you, then it might be so cool. But as for me, I know it's a little too exhausting at the end of the day. So that's my thoughts on Rosetta the Lost Language. Hope that helps you out. Thanks for coming by the Dice Tower for another review. My name is Chris Yee. Have yourselves a fantastic day.